Most often, it is the liberal celebrity that is the most self-righteous when it comes to speaking out against ills in society. Now, we all know what we're supposed to be. We're supposed to believe that the liberals really care about the poor. They really care about the marginalized. Except when their party doesn't do anything. And when they themselves blatantly contradict their own words in favor of the profit motive. Now, the comedian Dave Chappelle, who is worth hundreds of millions of dollars, has gone out and deliberately sabotaged affordable housing for families. Yeah, you heard that right. That's not an exaggeration. In Yellow Springs, Ohio, where he's from, there was a proposal to build a ton of affordable housing for families because it's Ohio. And he, along with other bourgeoisie, put the kibosh on it because it might interfere with their profit making. And the fact that the poor people housing might be too close to his own house. So what he was doing was he said he was gonna come back to his hometown, Yellow Springs, and invest a bunch of money in businesses and stuff to get things up and running. He was going to create a restaurant called the Firehouse Eatery and a comedy club live from YS or Yellow Springs. But he deliberately and explicitly told the city council that if they put in the housing for poor people, he would withdraw all of his investment. I've invested millions of dollars in town. If you push this through, what I'm investing in is no longer applicable. I would say that Oberer can buy all the property from me if they want to be you the benefactor, because I no longer want to. According to the Dayton Daily News, Yellow Springs was working with Oberer Homes to create affordable housing for families. Dave Chappelle joined the other residents of Yellow Springs community in opposing the plan. The council nixed the affordable housing component of the plan and agreed to construct 143 single-family homes with a starting price of approximately $300,000. Well, this isn't quite the liberal love that we're used to hearing from self-righteous liberal celebrities. You see, a lot of that affordable housing was going to be close to his home and the homes of other rich people who have often complained that they've raised concerns over increased traffic, a lack of sidewalks, and a general setup of the development. The proposed poor people housing would have gone near the area where he and other rich people live. And one of their concerns that they raised was that there would be increased traffic in the area because more people would be living there. But I guess it's the wrong kind of people, if you know what I mean. It's pretty hard to claim that you're one of the liberals who cares about the poor or cares about America in general when you deliberately sabotage plans for affordable housing. Why? Because affordable housing would lower the property values of the surrounding businesses and homes, the ones that Dave Chappelle owns and was planning on owning in the future. Because that's how the market works. And Dave Chappelle decided that, well, his profit motive was more important than the poor in Ohio. But I can hear some people now saying, but his profits, if he can't make a profit, then he can't invest, so they have to go along with it. Moments like this should be a learning moment where you realize that the profit motive, the very center of what capitalism is, directly conflicts with what is socially necessary. I'm not even socially rational, well, that too, but what is socially necessary, housing for the poor. So the system creates poor people and then opposes poor people having a place to live because it would go against their profit motive. This is the internal logic of the system itself. This isn't even something that really anybody could do anything about. That is what is going to happen. and that the development of housing for poor people goes directly against the profit motive itself. So in other words, you got to sometime or another come to the conclusion that capitalism isn't going to be able to solve homelessness. It's not going to be able to solve affordable housing. It can't. And that's the point. That's why capitalism has to go, and why reform isn't really going to work. It's not a long-term solution. Revolution, as should be obvious to any Marxist, is the only solution. But some, choose not to pay attention to that part. So what do we see here? We also see another contradiction of capitalism. Dave Chappelle knows what it's like to be marginalized, for not only for his, relatively poor upbringing and being black, something that, availability of homes disproportionately affects. And yet here, we see him deliberately place his own profit motive over the need of people for a place to live. To him, his being black is less important than his actual profit motive. Now, this was the same kind of problem that I expressed with Herman Cain. He reinforces racism, outright goes along with it, because it reinforces his class position. Even though it runs counter to his interests as a black man, he still continued on with it because it made him money. And it gave him that superior class position over a lot of people. Because it's always about capital. And everything else is pretty much just in the way. And sometimes we'll continue to push racist narratives because it will support their position. And the black bourgeoisie, even the black petty bourgeoisie, are not above this. And quite often you find that oh so glorious middle class person complaining the same thing, that there's affordable housing being put up in certain areas and that's going to lower their property values. Don't put the poor scum near me. That's my home, and I need to get as much as I can for it, because reselling something makes you working class. The only thing you have to live off of is your wages, except when you own a house and have a T4. But I digress. It's the same kind of mentality, if not exactly the same material situation. And it's important to understand that even the rich black and the rich Asian, etc., don't care about their own people. And that's not because race isn't real or some kind of nonsense like that. It's because of their class position. Because it's in their interest to suppress and marginalize even their own people. Because at the end of the day, capitalism is about profits. It's about profit making. And a reason why the tendency of the rate of profit to fall is one of the worst things that can happen to capitalism, and why it should be avoided before anything else. So just remember, black capitalism, white capitalism, yellow capitalism, it's still just capitalism, and it's the problem. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.